Imagine a private online space, an app just for women where you could warn each other about dangerous men, a place for safety, for support. Now, what if that safe space suddenly turned into a trap, exposing the most personal data of thousands of its users to the entire world? Well, this is the story of the T app, an app that promised protection but ended up delivering a complete and utter catastrophe. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with why this app was even needed, then we'll get into the app itself, how good intentions went sideways, the data breach that blew everything up, the fallout, and finally, the huge, shocking paradox at the very heart of this story. All right, so first things first. To really get why an app like T-App not only existed but went viral, we have to understand the world it was born into. Let's talk about the fears and frustrations that, for so many women, define modern dating. That's a massive question, right? And for a whole lot of people, the answer is a resounding yes. Dating apps, sure, they connect millions, but they've also created this landscape where trust is at an all-time low and anxiety is sky high. You just never really know who you're talking to on the other side of that screen. And this story, a real post someone shared online, it just cuts right to the heart of the problem. See, it's not always about physical danger. It's about the constant risk of being deceived, of being made vulnerable. Experiences like this, which can range from just humiliating all the way to truly terrifying, created a huge demand for a better, safer way to navigate the dating world. So you've got this mental checklist of fears running in the background. Is this person lying about who they are? Do they have a criminal record? Are they secretly cheating on someone? It creates this constant state of high alert. I mean, having to be a detective just to feel safe is exhausting. And that is exactly the problem that Tanquid app promised it could solve. So, into this whole mess of anxiety and mistrust, T-App arrives. And, on paper, the idea was absolutely genius. A private, women-only community where women could share information and protect one another. Its mission was simple but incredibly powerful. Use the power of the group, that collective knowledge, to make dating safer. The idea was, before you meet a guy, you could just pop open the app, check to see if anyone in your city had posted about him. It was basically designed to be a digital neighborhood watch for your love life. And the way it worked was super simple. The whole app was built around this rating system. Users could post about men and tag them with green flags for good experiences, or red flags to warn everybody else about toxic or dangerous behavior. And in practice, it became this really active tool for accountability. The thinking was, if a guy behaves badly, the consequences would go way beyond just one person's bad date. Now, everyone would know. For a lot of users, this thing worked exactly as it was supposed to. I mean, listen to this user. She found out through the app that her ex-boyfriend had been cheating on her for their entire relationship. For her and for thousands of others, this app felt like a revelation, a tool that could have saved them from a whole lot of trauma. Okay, but this is where the story really takes a dark turn. Because a space like this, built on good intentions but with pretty much zero regulation, it can get ugly, and it can get ugly fast. The very features that made the app so powerful also made it incredibly dangerous. And if you look closely, the seeds of the problem were there from the very beginning. Even the app's own description in the App Store used the word gossip. Right away, it's being framed not just as a safety tool, but as a place for rumors. And that is a very, very slippery slope. And man, did things go down that slope fast. The app just evolved. Vague warnings turned into detailed, nasty gossip. Legitimate safety concerns got twisted into personal revenge plots. Men, who couldn't even join the app, had their names and photos posted with absolutely no way to see the accusations or defend themselves. And eventually, the platform was even being used by some women to attack and slander other women. It got messy. But as toxic as the community was becoming on the inside, the real catastrophe, the knockout punch, was about to come from the outside. The one feature that was designed to guarantee its integrity, the fact that it was women only, would become its single greatest point of failure. So here's how it happened, and the irony is just painful. To prove they were women, every user had to upload a photo of their government ID. But the app stored this incredibly sensitive data with shockingly weak security. So hackers broke in, easily stole everything, and leaked it all online. The lock designed to keep everyone safe was actually a trapdoor. And the scale of this leak was just staggering. We are not talking about usernames and passwords here. This was the heavy stuff. We're talking photos of driver's licenses and passports, private one-on-one messages between users. Every single piece of personal, sensitive information that these women had entrusted to the app was now public for anyone to see. This breach wasn't just some technical failure. It was a human disaster. The very women who came to this app seeking protection were now more exposed and more vulnerable than ever before. The fallout was just brutal. All that leaked data was spread across other sites, where the app's users were mocked, harassed, and publicly shamed. And instead of sympathy, there was so much victim blaming. The public narrative for many became, well, they shouldn't have been on a gossip app in the first place, completely ignoring the search for safety that brought them there. And here's the part that just breaks your heart. A lot of the women who had their data leaked had never posted a single thing. They weren't gossiping, they weren't seeking revenge. They were just lurkers, people who downloaded the app out of curiosity or maybe a desire for community. But their data was leaked all the same, and they faced the exact same public harassment. But wait, the story is not over. Because as the company was scrambling to contain this absolute mess, one final detail emerged that cast the entire project in a new and deeply, deeply ironic light. The entire premise of the app, its whole reason for being, was a space free from men, controlled by women, for the benefit of women. So that begs the question, who was the ultimate architect behind this digital fortress? Yep, a man. That's right. The founder, the creator, and the person who ultimately controlled the T-app, this exclusive, women-only safe space, was a man. The one holding the keys to all of this incredibly sensitive data about women's lives and fears was, in fact, a man. Now, his stated motivation was actually pretty noble. He said he was inspired to create the app after his own mother had a really terrifying experience with a man she met online. He wanted to stop other women from going through the same thing. But in this tragic final twist, the app's catastrophic failure turned his mission of protection into the source of a new and, you could argue, much worse kind of danger. And this brings us to the final, haunting question that this whole story leaves us with. The T-app is a perfect storm of good intentions, flawed human nature, and technological failure. It forces us to ask, if safety requires verification, but verification creates this massive vulnerability, is the very idea of a truly safe private community online just an impossible dream?